First of all, I want to thank you, Professor Claudio Ronco, for this invitation. It's been very challenging for me to participate and to adopt new point of view for our prize. First, I would like to present a little bit myself. I'm an architect, but I'm not here as a practicing architect, but representing a prize that with an association of architects that is Alas Architetti, that is a national association we promote since 1997. And it's the Dedalo Minosse International Prize for Commissioning a Building. A little start about the name we chose for this prize. As you all know, Dedalo and Minosse are two mythological Greek figures. That means a lot for architects because by the myth, Minosse maybe was the first client and Dedalo the first architect about which we know a history. And there is a kind of joke behind our prize because at the end of the work that Minosse tried to kill Dedalus. And so we analyzed the process of this relationship as one is the mother and the other is the father of a quality project. But we know that this process is the fruit of some conflicts, different points of view, and the very importance that gets to a good solution are the inputs that the clients give in the program that stays at the basis of good results. And I think that these days conferences gave us the opportunity to see in the multidisciplinarity of the skills that are here today, new point of view about architecture and about well-being and constructing places and devices that are good for people. We know that client and architect are the two main figures, but we need also the craftsmen and we need the stakeholders of the public authorities that accompany the process throughout the building, starting with the first idea that comes out. And so, as the process is the main thing, the things that I will show will be very, very different. I will show some examples of last 12 or more years of architecture that influences the quality of life of people. It doesn't mean that they have to be big architecture, also little occasions and very, very different one to each other. And these are some of the numbers that of the clients that participate in these last 20 years to our prize. And you can see where from they come. And we travel all around the world with it. And then I close. We will now, we have an open the submission can apply clients, architects, builders. If you know something that or a good client, you can suggest us, not only in the healthcare, but in something that can be very interesting. We are open until the 25th of May to this. And the very nice things that happens every 3 years in Vicenza is something that I can see here, and I'm very happy that that's happening also today, that people from all over the world come in the Palladian buildings talking about architecture, quality of life. In our case, talking in the historical buildings about contemporary architecture too. And I start with Alain de Botton, and also thinking about what some of you told before about the importance of the human body and how we can, looking at people, thinking about something about them, and the same happens with objects and architecture. Different kind of lines, different kind of colors, of light, can influence our way of living. And this is a little quote about his book that says that you can read it. But anyway, it's very important, the aspect of the multidisciplinarity in architects of reading books that are not written only by architects, and I think that this brings to architecture a lot of richness and possibilities. And then just for today, in these years, we collect a lot of quotes of architects about what they think about dueling with clients and dueling with users, because analyzing process, our prize analyzes stories, analyzes architectures, not only looking at the drawings and at the pictures, but trying to understand what are the stories and the choices influenced by the client, the social environment, the territory, and the place where the things are drawn. And now, coming back to Palladio, this is the quote that accompany our prize since its foundation, and that underline the importance of the client and the builder in the architecture. This inspired the criteria of the jury that's going to select the projects, and the jury is not made only by architects, it's made by historians, by writers. Our president of jury was an important Italian writer, it was Stanislao Nievo. He was one of the founders of the WWF Italy and Parchi Letterari. It was it has a very important approach also with the valorization and tradition of the local languages. That is a prize that we named on his memory because he passed away. Now I start with some examples of some of the prizes that we gave in the years. They are not the winner of the international prize, but I choose some of them that I found significant for today. This is a leading treatment and research institute specialized in psychiatric and neurological disorders in children and adolescents. And the client, knowing that the way spaces organized may affect treatment and have a strong impact of human relationship, he sought an appropriate site for his therapeutic purposes in the hills, but not much close to the town. And you can see there the location, and this is the little town, where is it next to? The nature dominates the project, and they use for that a green facade, and they studied a lot the use of the natural light and the views on the landscape. The client gathered psychiatrists, architects, engineers, geologists, sociologists, and artists around the same table. And from the interdisciplinary approach, he tries to found the shape of this building. And he wanted a relationship with the woods through a study of the colors of the leaves in the different seasons of the year. So inside the building and outside the building there is a representation of the different seasons. And he did this with the artists and with the guests of the house that were reinterpreting reality through drawings and graphic words. Some of them were then reproduced on the facades of the building. And what they did was also to recover the path that brought to the city, that were the paths of the charcoal burners that were abandoned, and the client recovered them and gave it as a gift to the community. The next work is Dynamo Camp, is a an architecture and human project together. This is a special prize that was given by the Fondazione Pistoletto, that is a foundation for art, and they joined us in the jury, and they were very interested in this work because it's a camp it's a therapy camp that hosts children with serious and chronic illness, and it's a vacation center. It is situated in a location with a great beauty, in a natural oasis of 900 hectares. Some of the buildings have been recovered and some have been remodeled. And this is a place that had a productive vocation since 17th, 18th century. It was a factory, and then he became many other things that at the end it turned out in this. Today the client says that has to be a factory that produces happiness. And the founder is Enzo Manes. He founded it 10 years ago. He wanted it, as he says, like a place of beauty, not only for the magnificent natural setting, but also for his capacity to meet the highest standards of safety and comfort for his guests. He was very active in defining the project with the architects, and the kids that goes there do things that really I think that we will not be able to do because they do very, very difficult things and sports. The next one is very different. This is an autogrill on a highway, North Milano, and this highway has 30 million vehicles for a year. This is really interesting, and he gained the Design for All project. Going back to the standard man, Design for All thinks that there are no standard men, that everybody is different, and difference is a big opportunity for architects to challenge and to try to design for the most, for all, if it's possible, or for the most of us. And how this happens in a building like this? It's a very particular building. The concept came also this time with the client. There are a lot of devices, as they thought of mothers that travel alone with the kid. So if they need to go to the bathroom, and they have two kids, they don't know how to deal with it. So there are bathrooms for keeping two kids together. There are bathrooms for people who is impaired in mobility, but more than only for wheelchairs. There are bathrooms for fathers that go with little girls, and the opposite with mothers. So this is the bathroom, and it's very interesting and it's very articulated. They thought about the bikers too, that needs to rest, and they have a special place, and everything happens in a very open view. Also for parents that have children that goes around, all the places, the marketplace, are lower than the possibility of sight. Or if you are on a wheelchair, the desk of the selling of all the gadgets and everything is lower, so you can talk and take the things without having the help of someone else. And a lot of things goes also after the building, in the maintenance of it and in the managing of the building. Here we are in Mali, and we have a client and an architect that are Italian. This is a center that operates in Western Africa. The foundation that is mentioned here operates there in Mali and Burkina Faso. It's a missionary project, and here the architecture is made as something that can be recognized by the locals. All the materials, all the people who worked in that building comes from the area. And the idea is to give the opportunity to build other buildings like this, also in autonomy and in finding a new way of living and considering hospitals too. This place is for rehabilitation of children, psychomotor rehabilitation, in a country where it's not obvious the inclusion of disabled people. And so the program goes further architecture, and architects and clients work together also on this. This is, again, a prize given of Design for All in Italy, La Lega del Filo d'Oro. And the La Lega del Filo d'Oro is founded in 1964, and his mission is to care for deaf, blind, and multisensorily impaired people. So this place has a path of odors, for example, with aromatic plants. It has a path of noise which use water, and has a lot of devices for tactile experiences throughout the buildings. And also here, the client had a very, very important role. And he asked, we have a quote of him that said that the least I expect, he said to the architects, is that the project works. But this is not enough. I want to be beautiful. I want a place in which it's beautiful to live. And this is a orphanage and device in Thailand. And this project is beautiful, and it costs only $8,000. And so when sometimes they say Design for All means many costs, it's not true. It means smart project and smart client. And this project has been possible by Tasane Kernprane, I don't know how to pronounce it. She's a lady that was of a minority, and as a children, he could not study. And as a children and as a lady, he found that to be at school and to learn was very fundamental for individuals. So she decided to project this reality that is a school, and that is also a place, is also a bath, because you need also the primary things that she gives to the children, and the children can learn from other people from outside Thailand, because the architects, for example, were from Norway. And all this program continues in an exchange between local people and outside people, because the children that goes there don't speak the same language. Around this area there are many, many different languages, so it was very difficult also to find a common language to speak. And they find that drawings, for example, and architecture and art were a way to start to communicate one to each other. And also this building is made with local materials and using and considering the local lights and the climate condition. This is a school in Brazil, and is the first Brazilian nursery developed from a program directed for children aged from 0 to 3 years. And it has a very particular educational concept. The client is a psychologist, and she used colors to simulate children, so she used a lot of yellow and red She goes all over the world to find interesting games for children that are design games. Not, she says, not stupid ones, but one that can be a stimulus for children and interaction for them. There is a sure thing that the building is built around this ramp, and the ramp is also in this case something that means no stairs. And so it's good for wheelchairs, it's good for mothers that have to carry the babies, and it's also something funny for the children. So the less the building is specialized in something and the more is open to the user, most people can find their autonomy and their freedom. And this is another example of emergency that everyone knows, and this is another example of something that with no very high cost can be very useful, and something that is not recognizable as an hospital as a first sight. Also this considering where we are in materials, in light, and in colors. This is in Brussels, this is a university, and this is Samen, is the project. Here there is a big attention on the ecological aspects, energy saving, and light aspects. But I'm very interested in this one. So we had buildings, and now we have a part of the house that is the kitchen. This is Snyder is a very historical industry that makes kitchens, and very innovative every time. In this time, they wanted to produce a kitchen that was for impaired people. They did a study with the University of Udine together with the architects to find solutions that makes this kitchen flexible for different uses, so for wheelchairs, and they have free space under the tables to let the wheelchair get by, and all the things are in a place that for someone also seated can reach and can be without help of someone else. Then what happened? That they found that this was very useful for normal people too. And this kitchen was one of the most sold kitchen of this industry. And that was really a case in these years, because it was published everywhere. And they think that they found that designing in a certain way makes a better life for everybody. This is a clinic in Japan. Also, this one is it's an ophthalmologist, the client, and it's the idea that he wants to give to his patients. It's of precision, calm, and softness. And to create some places they can wait, they can stay, they can rest. Here there are offices at different levels, offices and places for them. Oh, this is another example in Japan. And this is a house. It's called Device 9 because there are 9 devices that the client thought for himself. He is a businessman. He had a bad accident and he couldn't move anymore. So he was used to travel all around the world, and he said that was not anymore possible for him. So he asked the architect to bring the world inside his house. And the house, it works as accessibility, that it's the basis, and that it's not the focus of the project. But he found these little gardens that have a steel path. It's very strange, but that for him means sound of rain, seeing the sky mirrored in a path, seeing the light changing very intensive throughout the seasons. What he could not see outside could be seen throughout this. This is very special and very personalized vision of the world. Maybe it's not good for anyone, for everybody. And this is the last project, and this is, we are really, we became friends with these two clients because they were two pharmacists. They retired at the age of 65, and they asked for a design house where they can live as much longer as possible in autonomy. And they told us that when they said this to the friends, they said, no, it's horrible, you're going to live in a hospital. And they found a designer that is a very well-known one, and they asked him to build this house with no difference of levels, with simple things that you have to think about, but that you don't see as something that make you thinking about an hospital. And so the house is only on one level. They have a pool. The pool have different levels inside. And there is a domotic systems of everything that it's very flexible, and you can change in the years as your needs comes out. And that was very interesting because also this house, as the kitchen, has been published everywhere, not for these aspects, but for his design and his beauty and his relationship with the outside nature. So that was the incredible idea of two clients that invested in their future, thinking about their future 20 years. For doing this, in each of these projects, multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary intersections are very, very important because the sum of all the skills of everybody makes something bigger than the simple sum of them, because something comes out that is made of art, is made of techniques, it's made of a lot of different approaches that it's the story that we would like to tell to everybody. So we wait for you at the Teatro Olimpico on the 21st of September. And if you have idea to submit something or someone, just write us. Thank you very much.